This is Local 6 at 5 in high definition.
The state of Illinois takes a big financial hit after its credit rating dropped to the lowest in the nation, and you, the taxpayer, could be footing the bill for it. That tops the news at 5. The downgrade has the state treasurer, Dan Rutherford, pointing the blame at Illinois' governor and the General Assembly.
Reporter Sean Lewis talked with Rutherford about what he thinks the state needs to do to get things back on track.
The warning came from State Treasurer Dan Rutherford.
We are now looking at a dire situation.
The Standard & Poor's downgrade from A to A- puts Illinois last on the list behind California and means a higher cost to borrow money. On Wednesday, the state will issue $500 million in new bonds to pay for roads and other transportation projects. Rutherford says the credit downgrade will cost taxpayers an additional $95 million in interest, when compared to a perfect AAA bond rating enjoyed by 11 other states, including neighboring Indiana, Iowa, and Missouri.
Our problem in Illinois is the fact that we have not substantively and fairly addressed the state public pension issue.
Rutherford points to Governor Quinn and the democratically controlled General Assembly for making matters worse in the last 2 years, raising taxes in the state, but not acting on pension reform.
This problem didn't come about just now. It's been accumulating over different actually decades. Each time the governor has set a deadline and didn't meet it, there was some negative reaction. It has become quite evident to me that the General Assembly has not registered what these negative impacts are to be enough to cause a change in the public pensions.
Rutherford says reform should come in the form of new cost of living adjustments and sliding health care costs based on pension income, all of which is a hard sell in Springfield, but would put the state back on better financial ground.
Illinois is a very good place, and we can turn this place around. But the first thing, the most paramount thing we must do is fix this in a fair way, our public pensions.
Standard & Poor's says that given the legislators' track record, it doesn't think lawmakers will fully address the pension fund deficit.
Yeah, Rutherford says the failure to address the state's pension liability is costing the state at least $17 million a day. And this is not the first financial downgrade for the state. In January last year, Moody's Investment Services gave Illinois its worst rating of any state. And earlier this month, Fitch Ratings changed Illinois' financial outlook from stable to negative. Rutherford says this downgrade would cost taxpayers $95 million more in borrowing costs. Well, the pastor of the Hickman Baptist Church in Fulton County, Kentucky, will meet with church staff Wednesday to decide a temporary place for worship after a fire destroyed the church earlier this week. Jason Sipes lives across the street from the church and saw smoke coming from it Wednesday as he was eating breakfast.
Firefighters even used 2 aerial trucks to douse the flames. Luckily, no one was inside the church at the time. It is the second time the church has caught fire. The original building burned down in 1939. Well, today, members of Sipes' congregation met inside the Fulton County High School gym. Sipe, who's been at the church for 7 years, says his congregation has been through some tough times before, and with prayer, the church will power through and rebuild.
So God always has a plan and a purpose, even in the midst of, being upset and pushed out of our comfort zone and where we're stretched, and so we just need to look to the Lord.
And coming up at 10, Sipes talks with us about that process of rebuilding and the hopes he has for the months ahead. Well, a new $237 million hospital in southern Illinois is now up and running. Today, the newly constructed Good Samaritan Regional Health Center in Mount Vernon is transferring patients from an older, outdated facility, according to the Associated Press. They're reporting the new hospital will create an estimated 112 healthcare jobs and 40 office positions. The existing complex, which opened in 1952, will be demolished. Well, more than 230 people are confirmed dead tonight following a frantic scene at a Brazilian nightclub.
The fire broke out at a crowded nightclub earlier this morning in Brasilia. More than 900 people were inside at the time. Many of those were trampled trying to escape.
Survivors say a member of the band performing set the ceilings on fire.
Well, this is not the news you probably want to hear, but the average cost for a gallon of gasoline increased 2 cents during the past 2 weeks.
Just 2 cents, but that's 2 pennies I'd like to have in my pocket.
Yes, exactly. That's according also to the Lumbergh survey of fuel prices. Search those couches there. That brings the price of a gallon of regular gas to $3.34.
Mid-grade cost an average of $3.52 a gallon, and premium, yikes, $3.65. Diesel holding steady at $3.96 a gallon.
And looking at what you are paying where you live, gas prices are either falling or they're holding steady in the local 6 states. The price for a gallon of regular gas is highest in Illinois. You'll pay $3.45. The state average is a whopping 17 cents lower in Kentucky. In Tennessee, you can pump for $3.17, and you'll find the lowest prices in Missouri. That's typical there at $3.14. You can send us gas prices from your neighborhood. Just email us at share@WPSDlocal6.com, or you can visit our web channel, that being WPSDlocal6.com, and click on Send It.
Now your Weather Authority first forecast.
It's been a cool and damp Sunday, and for many of us in southern Illinois, a downright rainy day as the majority of our Sunday has been spent with some shower activity there, and you can still see that rain on Ultimate Doppler 6 live radar tonight, mainly along and north of Highway 13, the heaviest pocket of rain across Jefferson and Franklin County. All this slowly moving off to the east-northeast, and I believe the majority of the area will be dry for much of the evening. Pretty big spread in those temperatures from 37 in Mount Vernon to 57 in Dyersburg. That mild air on the move tonight. We'll actually see numbers increasing as the evening wears on, and rain chances slowly decreasing. Any chances for rain will be limited to southern Illinois through this evening. Our work week forecast will go to spring and then back to winter. A wild ride over the next 7 days. We'll have the details in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Trent. Well, Illinois Governor Pat Quinn signed a measure today, making his state the 4th and most populated to allow illegal immigrants to drive. A purple bordered card, very much like this one, will only be valid for driving purposes. That means it cannot be used as a form of identification, so the licenses cannot be used to buy a firearm, register to vote, or to board a plane. To get a permit, illegal immigrants will have to submit to facial recognition software, provide proof of written signature, proof of date of birth, a letter of ineligibility for a social security number, show a valid passport from a home country, or a consular identification card, and 2 documents that show a minimum 1-year residency in the state. They would also have to receive driver's training and undergo vision screening, written and driving tests, as well as purchase insurance. Supporters say the measure will improve safety on the roads, but critics warn of the potential for identity fraud. You can find more information on this new driver's license program on our web channel, WPSDlocal6.com. Just click on Find It.
And before you put your bills or letters to Grandma in the mail tomorrow, you could actually be needing to add a little something to it to make sure it gets delivered. The price for first-class stamps went up today to 46 cents. The good news, though, forever stamps bought at lower prices, of course, are still valid. Another change, postcards will now cost you 33 cents to mail, and for the price of priority mail, that's increasing as well. The prices vary depending on the weight, but free tracking is now being offered. And there's a new option for international mail. The Postal Service now offers a global forever stamp for $1.10. It's good news there. It's good for first-class mail to anyone in the world. Well, if you have noticed it's taking longer to post videos, maybe pictures of you online, you're definitely not alone.
Why, that device you're probably holding right now could slow connection speeds to a crawl, and what can be done to keep that traffic moving. Remember, you're watching WPSD Local 6 at 5.
Your breaking news and weather authority with Todd Faulkner, Brianna Connor, Weather Authority Trent Okerson, and Andy Waterman Sports. You're watching Local 6 at 5 in high definition.
Nice.
Very nice. Thank you, Trent. Coming up here in sports, former Paducah Tillman standout Brian Hall. He's headed to the Super Bowl with the Baltimore Ravens. We'll hear from him about what it takes to make it in the pros.
That is super exciting. Plus, Murray State is usually a team that can put up points at will, but they struggled during their recent road trip. Coach Steve Prohm, what is it, Robert? Prohm talks about their slump next. You're watching WPSD Local 6 at 5. The Marquette Golden Eagles and the Providence Friars got an unexpected guest in the second half of their game on Saturday.
Yeah, a bat stormed the court, antagonizing players and causing multiple delays in the action. Eventually, they turned off the arena lights so the bat could go into hiding.
Friars coach Ed Cooley even used an assistant coach, look at that, as protection. No, sir, you are a grown man. The opposing teams tried to punch at the bat. People even used towels to try to catch it. Just a little elusive there.
I would be running to the parking lot.
Sir, you are grown. It's a bat.
Well, I know, but I'd still be running. At least stuff that's on the floor, you could prop yourself up. But things that fly,
That's true.
there's no
In the
protection.
great outdoors, you got to put on hoodies with masks and a tennis racket. The great outdoors. That's how you go after it.
Yeah,
That's how you get
He
it.
did hide behind the assistant.
I think if there was a bat flying around in here, I would be willing to bet that one of you would grab me to try to use as a human shield.
Oh, that's
would
for
do
sure
that.
gonna happen.
Just grab
Just
it, no
grab the
doubt.
bat. We appreciate it. All
We'll see
right,
you
thanks
tonight
for
at 10.
watching, y'all.